in person and virtually. The shofar, or ram's horn, has been used to call the Jewish people to action for millennia. The shofar blasts in sharp, broken tones to stir us from our slumber and draw our attention to the challenges and opportunities of our world. In the Jewish year 5782, we lost our legal right to abortion. And in the start of our new year, 5783, we begin at Rosh Hashanah, we must control over our own reproductive freedom. Just yesterday, Senator Lindsey Graham introduced legislation that would ban abortions nationwide after 15 weeks. We must never relent against these attacks until we restore the rights of women everywhere. Thank you. Our Sho-test sound the alarm from coast to coast, protest complacency, and proclaim loudly that we will not tire from a fight over abortion. We must fight like control of our own lives depends on it, because it does. We cannot allow a government takeover of women's bodies, and that is what we are in the midst of happening. It is outrageous and unacceptable. Today's Sho-test is one of many happening around the country as part of National Council of Jewish Women's Abortion Access Week of Action this week. During the Week of Action, every blow of the shofar in public spaces unifies us in solidarity as we sound a wake-up call to our people and the nation that abortion is essential health care and abortion justice is a Jewish value. I am so pleased to be joined by one of my colleagues. Am I joined by one of my colleagues? Good. Who has been sounding a wake-up call in Congress well before Roe was dismantled, and she's worked to introduce and pass bills to ensure everyone can get the reproductive health care they need. It's my pleasure to introduce and welcome my dear friend, Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs from California.
Well, hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and thank you to the National Council of Jewish Women for organizing this event, and thank you all for being here today. I'm so proud to serve as the youngest Jewish member of Congress, and as a 33-year-old woman, reproductive health care is my health care. In fact, for many years, my OBGYN is literally the only doctor that I went to. And I've tried to talk very publicly about my own reproductive health. Last year, I shared my experience freezing my eggs, and this year I found out I was the first member of Congress in 35 years, and probably ever, to talk about my period and about using birth control pills and IUD and Plan B on the House floor. So when the Supreme Court overturned the constitutional right to an abortion and put other constitutional rights on notice, I was furious. I was literally shaking. Because when, if, and how to start a family is deeply personal and private decision. And it shouldn't be decided by the Supreme Court or elected officials. And as all of us here know, this wasn't only a huge blow to my bodily autonomy and right to privacy. It was also a huge blow to my religious freedoms as a Jewish woman. Because to me and millions of Jews across the country, it's a painful irony that the religious right has been working for decades under the false guise of religious freedom to overturn Roe and eliminate our right to abortion. No one religion or belief system should be able to supersede others and dictate policies for a diverse nation. The separation of church and state was one of the most important protections to the founding fathers. And those of us who know that in Jewish law, it teaches us that human life begins when you take your first breath. And protecting existing life is one of our most sacred and important principles. That's why the health, well-being, and life of the pregnant person always comes before the fetus. And it's outrageous that others have co-opted our sacred texts to rationalize taking away our reproductive rights, and that their so-called pro-life crusade actually stops once the baby takes its first breath. My Jewish faith guides my work in Congress every single day. And I'm so proud to be an original co-sponsor of the Women's Health Protection Act that the House has already passed twice. And I'm so proud to have co-led the introduction of the Right to Contraception Act that passed the House in July. And I'm also working with my friend Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz to pass my bill, the My Body, My Data Act, that would create a new national standard to protect reproductive and sexual health data. So I'm proud to join Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz, Rabbi Lewis, Rabbi Holzblatt, and Sheila Katz to blow the shofar to call Jewish communities across the country to act and mobilize for reproductive freedom. We can't accept this new post-Roe reality as our new normal. This is not a time to give up. This is a time to show up, to act, to organize, to mobilize, because too much is on the line. Our rights, our dignity, our autonomy, and our religious freedoms are at risk. And as we go into this holy season, reflecting on the year behind us and the year ahead, I couldn't think of a more fitting call to action. So thank you all so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Congresswoman Jacobs. And you're right, we have to show up. And today we're here to Sho-test. I want to add, since personal stories are so important, lest we think that Dobbs is where all of this stops. One has only to look at Justice Thomas's concurring opinion with Dobbs that suggested that every decision decided based on the inherent right to privacy we have in our Constitution should be revisited by the court. And that's why someone like me, who when I was 29 years old and married to my husband and we began trying to have a family, tried for a year and realized that we were going to need some assistance, ultimately culminating in our need to go through in vitro fertilization to conceive and for me to give birth to our twins. That, with the Dobbs decision and everything that the Thomas concurrent opinion means hanging over our heads, means that one day a young woman like me who would have no other reason but to think that she would be fertile and be able to easily have a child might not be able to, because the government would come in and say that was not allowed. Well, not on our watch. And that's why we are here as a community to stand together with this Sho-test. And so now it's my pleasure to introduce a young woman leader who I have come to admire, respect, and really just be so proud of. I fell every time I listened to the CEO of the National Council of Jewish Women, Sheila Katz. I'm so thrilled to be here to stand with her. She leads an organization of 200,000 activists across the country who work nonstop for women, children, and families. My friend, Sheila Katz.
Thank you, Congresswoman. We are incredibly grateful for your strong moral voice in Congress and trailblazing efforts for women, children, and families. And we're also proud that you're a lifetime member of NCJW. Again, I'm Sheila Katz, CEO of National Council of Jewish Women. We are a feminist, Jewish civil rights organization that has been working for equity and justice for women, children, and families for 129 years. We are here loudly and proudly advocate for abortion access because of our faith, not in spite of it. Judaism permits abortion and requires it when the life of the pregnant person is at risk. We will not remain silent as our religious liberty is threatened. As Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz mentions, the blasts of the Shofar have been used as a way to call the Jewish people to action throughout history. We are halfway through the Jewish month of Elul, the month before the new year marked by Rosh Hashanah. As part of our spiritual preparation to enter the high holidays, which begin with Rosh Hashanah, we have a practice of blowing the shofar every day to wake us up from our spiritual and emotional slumber and urge us to act. The shofar has been used historically in other ways as well, to call people together, to summon them to action in times of crisis, to alert them to the seriousness and urgency of the words they are about to hear. Today, we blow the shofar for all of these reasons, to wake people up from their routines, to say that this now is the moment to act. There are people who need us to show up now, to remember that reproductive freedom is a Jewish value. To bring us together in this holy work as we fight for every human being in this country, for our right to health care and community support, for our dignity and safety, for our bodily autonomy and self-determination. We are here because no one has a right to impose a narrow interpretation of one religion on a vast and diverse country. We are here because abortion justice is a racial justice issue, because abortion access is an economic justice issue, because abortion access is a gender justice issue, because abortion access is a religious freedom issue. We are here because abortion access is a Jewish issue. And we are here because everyone deserves to control their bodies, lives, and futures with dignity, support, and compassion. We won't be silent until we achieve reproductive access for all. And now I'm so honored to welcome two incredible rabbis. Well, first to say thank you to Congresswoman Jacobs, who's joined us today and is a leader in advocating for us to have the decisions on if, when, and how to have a family. And we're thrilled to have so many rabbis blowing the shofar, and two in particular who you're going to hear from right now. Rabbi Lauren Holtzblatt is the senior rabbi at Addis Israel Congregation and an NCJW rabbi for Repro, who is inspirational and a force for justice, who fittingly was Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's rabbi. And Rabbi Annie Lewis, who leads the congregation at Sha'arei Torah and is also an NCJW rabbi for Repro, is an incredible organizer, dynamic rabbi, and passionate advocate for abortion access. Please join me in welcoming them. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, NCJW. Thank you to our congresswomen who are here with us today. The shofar is an instrument that at the very same moment when we hear it, we are meant to awaken feelings of victory, feelings of awe, as the sound was heard on Mount Sinai and in the battlefield. And at the very same time as we hear victory, the shofar's call is a reminder, as Sheila said, that we are not there yet. We sounded on Rosh Hashanah to awaken us, to remind us to do the hard work of repair of this broken world. There's a classic Talmudic argument about whether the shofar that we blow on Rosh Hashanah should be curved or straight. Rabbi Yehuda holds that on Rosh Hashanah we blow a curved shofar because our souls have not yet been redeemed. We have not fully found our way, and we need to do the work to get to wholeness. By the time we get to Yom Kippur, we blow a straight shofar as we stand in a joyful place having Yom Hadin, the day of judgment. The journey to get to the spiritual place of the straight shofar on Yom Kippur is the daily grind of owning our wrongdoings and making repair, person by person, place by place, step by step. The journey to get to the straight shofar for reproductive rights is organizing, speaking out, writing, voting, and making our voices heard. We will not stay in this position of turning in the wrong direction. We blow this shofar to remind us to keep doing the work so we can again return to a straight path, the path forward. In this moment in our country, the law of the land on reproductive rights has become bent. It has turned us backwards 50 years. When we blow the shofar, we are announcing our call, our awakening, our commitment that we are not going to stay in this curved position. We are heading towards victory. And the way we do that is by summoning our energy, awakening our conviction that no childbearing person should be without choice. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. This shofar call today is one which reflects a twisting and turning of our reproductive rights. But as we battle for the safety of every childbearing person, let it be a clarion call to find a straight path once again, so that when we hear that sound, we will hear freedom, we will hear choice, and we will hear dignity, and we will hear victory. Amen. Amen. Amen.
As we sound the shofar in just a few moments, we invite you to focus on its different calls: Tikiyah, Shivarim, and Teruah. Tikiyah is an unbroken blast that reminds us both of an emergency siren and a song announcing a new dawn. Shvarim, our three medium wails for all that is fractured and broken. Shvarim are cries of grief welling up from the deep. Shvarim are our voices rising up for justice. Truah is made up of 9 short notes sounded in quick succession. Truah is urgent and frantic, a reminder that the day is short and there is so much work to do. Tekiah Gedolah, literally great tekiah, is an elongated call. It rides on a powerful breath. It begins with breath. It is a spiritual alarm clock, waking us up to all that is possible when we act together. Let these shofar blasts stir our souls. Let us hear and internalize the shofar's call to action. Let us recommit to pursuing a justice that centers those who are most harmed. Let us join together in community and in solidarity with others to protect and honor the right to safety, dignity, and autonomy. We are honored today to have area rabbis and Jewish clergy with us, who will now sound shofar together as Rabbi Holtzblatt and I call for the different blasts.
It's okay. So as we close out our prayer for reproductive freedom, I want us to really hold on to the call of the shofar. So much so that some of our amazing rabbis held their breath a little too long, but we're grateful because we need to put everything we've got and our bodies on the line to show up in this moment. Our ancient Jewish call to action is so critical for us right now. The world needs our attention now. It's up to us to respond to this call. Our new Jewish year is about to begin, and with it, we are compelled to meet this moment. Together, let us march forward towards reproductive freedom with the shofar's call ringing in our ear. So please join me in this prayer for reproductive freedom. God of our ancestors, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, we affirm that you have created each of us in your sacred image, endowed with the inherent right to dignity and autonomy. We ask that you guide us toward a caring and loving community and nation that reveres this dignity in each of us. We affirm that reproductive freedom, the sacred right to own the personhood of the body, is a fundamental part of society for which we strive in your name. We ask that you endow us with the strength and resolve we need, because the path that lays ahead is challenging and we all need resilience, strength, and courage. We ask that you protect the most impacted and marginalized among us, because it is they who are most at risk. Do this work in the name of God. We are the compassionate, loving creations of a compassionate, loving, and just God. It is holy, sacred work. May our country become a place of liberty and justice for all. And may our care for one another include care and respect for each other's right to good and affordable health care, including abortion care, and right to live safely and securely, as we each follow our path of conscience and the God we each do or do not believe in. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I want to thank all of our clergy here, our rabbis for Repro, the rabbis that blew the shofar, for literally getting it on. And I'm very thankful that all is okay. May the words of our rabbis, the rabbis blast of the shofar, inspire us. May they strengthen us. May they sustain us as we engage in this work. Thank you to Congresswoman Jacobs, Rabbi Holtzblatt, and Rabbi Annie Lutz, and the many rabbis and Jewish clergy who brought their shofars today and helped us wake up from our slumber and called our attention to the vital work face for abortion access. Thank you to NCJW for convening us and hosting hundreds of Sho-tests across the country. Today, the shofar blowing reminded us that reproductive freedom is a Jewish value. It brought us together in this holy work as we fight for every human being in this country, for our right to health care and community support, for our dignity and our safety, for our bodily autonomy and self-determination. We will not stop until we achieve reproductive justice for everyone. Together we are strong, and we will win this fight. And with that, I close by wishing everybody a happy and a healthy new year. Thank you so much.